run through our. So, that's all I have to say about this financing. Ted, do you have anything you want to say?
I also have this, it's just another option for funding.
Well, why don't
It's another lease, availability of lease. Payment upon delivery, correct?
You can do that, or you do it a year.
What the point
The
I'm
first
making
payment
is
on delivery, yeah.
the financing,
yes, that's correct.
we have as a municipality, we can pretty much guarantee that we'll have financing available to us. That's not the question. What we have to do is make sure that we can work it into the budget accordingly. That's really where our priority lies now. Ordering it is fine, and we have plenty of time to come up with a finance scheme as long as we have some frame of reference as far as dollar amounts are concerned. So that's not so much an issue as making sure that we're going to be able to do what we have to do in regard to paying for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Right now, we have $50,000 in new equipment for 2009, which we haven't used. So that could be carried over for next year to incorporate it with we asked for 50,000 again for 2010,
Yes.
2010's budget. So that would cover, if you did a 5-year, that would cover the 92 or whatever. I mean, that would be at least
Looks like,
something.
what is it, 86? And it leaves something left over. It's not, I'm the one there that has,
Yeah, right.
What is it, 84?
About 85 or
84,
90,000.
Okay, but I'm just saying, what we asked for in the budget this year, we haven't touched that 50,000. So
Well,
and then there is other money there, correct?
And there are other things that we could do too.
it's, again, it's, my greater concern isn't getting the financing, it's just making sure that it
It's going to
works.
be paid for.
And like you said, you actually have a $50,000 line specifically for the purchase of trucks. Some time ago, I presented a plan to the board to actually roll in the money so that we would be able to have a 5-year plan where there could be a purchase of a heavy truck. It was specifically designated to that, so maybe we need to revisit that and see what we have to do. In regards to where we're going to add in the budget, this goes back to last night's budgetary meeting, what Michelle and I were going over, which I know didn't make a lot of sense to people, but I broke it out here by funds. And this is just, we have a lot of work to do. As far as I'm concerned, the orders for the vehicle should be made as soon as possible. But what we have to do is start taking things apart and find out what we're going to do in regards to our total budget. And this is exactly what Michelle and I were looking at. If you're looking down the columns, what we had budgeted for the pension fund is in the first column. Now that we're 3 quarters through, we have the first 3 quarters posted, a simple projection of dividing by 3, and then adding that to the number posted gives you the projected for '09. Those numbers are much higher than what was budgeted. They're considerably higher. The increase for '10 is going to be 4.5% of payroll. That's the 3rd column. And then when you total that up, you have that end column is the total for what we need to put in just to keep the pensions afloat for 2010. And between now and 2010 and that alone, we have to find $106,000. Now that doesn't tie directly into this, but that's 3.5% tax increase just to keep the pension fund afloat. We have to be concerned about where we put in increases. As it stands now, your equipment line will handle it with a little left over, but I don't want you to be surprised when we start really pinning that down. You know what I mean? Where there's not going to be any. It's going to be lean year 2010.
we didn't ask for an increase on any line at all for the highway because of
I-
things that have gone
He asked
down.
for an equipment line increase.
I was just gonna say, the only thing was the
Right.
equipment to
But what I'm
discuss.
saying is,
But other than that, we were
Yeah.
across the board.
No,
the same.
I know, I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we have to take both of the existing lines, which are 50,000 each, and compile them into one line just to make it through this year. You know, and part of the plan for the long term for the trucks was the sunsetting of the money that we had borrowed to get through last year. And when that sunsets, that's gonna free up a considerable amount of money that we can roll into a plan for a long-term series of purchase. And that will afford us the opportunity to fund it over quite a few years so that we can really start rolling and turning things over. And that'll free up more, you know, it's just gonna be a couple years off, just so you know the direction, that's the direction I'm looking. You know, but as far as funding them, it's something that we desperately need to do.
I have to emphasize that these numbers that Ted has so very carefully worked out, along with our accounting clerk, are projections, and we will, of course, get these confirmed through, in conjunction with our accountant also. But these numbers were derived scientifically. They weren't, just more or less a dartboard approach, picking the number with a dark landing. And you have to realize that there's an actual increase of 4.5% as to what the municipality has to put in towards the retirement. And to me, that's the same as an unfunded.
It's actually a 60% increase in what we're paying into it,
Well,
is what they were saying, but it's gonna come out to 4.5% of payroll.
exactly, and the bottom line with that is that this is essentially an unfunded mandate. You will do it, and we're not gonna give you any help. So, in fact, we're kind of taking over for the state, assisting them in taking care of retirement for individuals because of all of the financial problems that have happened in the past year. So, these numbers are projections, but we've been pretty accurate with our projections in the past. Everybody on the board works very hard for the budget, coming up with these numbers. So, thank you for that information. Dr. Justice, do you have some information you want to share? or
No,
some
that's fine.
Opinions or comments?
I think it's very interesting. I think we do need to move ahead, and we do have to take the budget into account, that we are going to be running shortfalls, but we also have to invest in our infrastructure. So,
No, I agree with that, personally, defer. Ms. Young.
Richard, I'm just a little confused here. You had mentioned that these trucks would come with the stainless steel bodies. That's the extra.
On a it's $12,000 extra for a 14-foot body. That's a
So-
regular steel body on that.
So on the Tandem International, the truck is 109 and change. The equipment is 82.9, and then to add on the stainless steel,
Be an extra
it would
12,000.
be 12,000. It's been long overdue. We've always tried to put in money for trucks. I think it's beyond whatever. I think the most important things for this town is health and safety. We dealt with an issue last night regarding health as well as safety, and this is also very critical because we have a group of guys who are out there willing to work hard. We've got to give them the tools in order to perform their job in more than a satisfactory manner.
We did that last year, though. When we did the budget, we included that $50,000, and we dedicated it for the purchase of a truck in a lease capacity. So that was put in place.
Okay,
Right,
so
yeah,
we
it's not,
have,
yeah, Judy, it's not like we didn't do anything. I mean, it was,
No.
what, a $460,000 increase in the highway budget last year to bring it up to speed where it had been falling off for years, so it's not.
so we have to figure out, which is the best way. If you said we put 50,000 away and you carrying over 50,000, we have 100,000 away, is that correct?
Projected.
Well, we have a lot of concerns because as we're looking at the numbers for the pension, I mean, we have to take into consideration consideration money that wasn't spent this year going other places, because there's a disparity between